Title: She Knew Where We Were. Let me take you back to a cold December night in Japan, early 2000s. I'd come home for winter break after my first semester of college in the States. I was a military brat, half Japanese, and had spent most of my life growing up on base in Japan. That country has its share of ghost stories, way more than people in the West realize. There's something different about the way Japan handles the supernatural. There's a stillness to it, a quiet kind of fear. That night, I was hanging with my two closest friends, Jay and R. Jay had this beat-up Nissan Silvia, the kind of car street racers drool over, and he was obsessed with drifting, though honestly he kinda sucked at it. Still, he was eager to practice, so we decided to hit up Asamizo Park in Sagamihara. Huge place, lots of winding roads and empty parking lots. The perfect playground for a guy who wanted to burn some rubber without cops showing up. It was past 10 p.m. when we rolled into the first lot. Cold night, clear sky, dead quiet. Jay started drifting. R and I got out to smoke and shoot the breeze. That's when I felt it. That weird tingle, like someone was watching us from the tree line. I kept glancing at the woods, but there was nothing. Just shadows and silence. Then my phone rang. Now, I didn't even have my own Japanese phone anymore. This was my younger sister's. She let me borrow it so my mom could reach me. No one else had the number. But when I pulled it out, the screen said, "Restricted number." Weird, right? I figured maybe my sister was calling from a payphone or something, so I answered. "Hello?" Silence. Then static. And then a girl's voice. Quiet. Japanese. Apologizing, saying she thought I was someone else. I figured it was one of my sister's friends, so I explained I was just borrowing the phone and hung up. 10 minutes later, another call. Same number, same girl. Only this time, she asked me what I was doing at the park so late. My stomach sank. I hadn't told her I was at a park. Hell, I hadn't said anything about where I was. I called her out, and she giggled. Said she must have guessed. I told her to stop calling, hung up. Jay got bored, and we moved to a different lot, near some soccer fields. The lamps there cast everything in this weird orange glow. Not as dark, but still. That same feeling of being watched crawled up my back like cold fingers. Then, the phone rang again. Same girl. This time, her tone had changed. She sounded annoyed. "Why'd you leave? What was wrong with the last spot?" My heart started pounding. I told her. I never said we left. She paused, then laughed again. Played it off. I hung up. Now Jay and R were fully creeped out. I told them everything, and while they tried to make light of it, joking it was some girl crushing on me, I could tell they were unsettled too. Then the phone rang again. This time she said, "I see you. I'm at the field." I spun around. Empty field. Just darkness beyond the lights. She described my jacket, Jay's car, even our exact positions. Then she said, "I'm coming over. I want to hang out." We got back in the car. Jay peeled out, burning rubber as we raced out of that lot. My phone rang again. I didn't want to answer, but I did. Her voice was lower now, calm, almost teasing. "It's a shame you left before I could reach you," she said. I was about to ask how she knew we left when she said something that made my blood go cold. "Oh well, I guess I'll just have to meet you at the Family Mart you're stopping at." I didn't even get the chance to respond. Jay slammed the brakes and pulled off to the side of the road. Hazard lights blinking. He turned to me, pale as a ghost, and said in a shaky voice, "How the hell does she know I was taking us to Family Mart?" We shut the phone off and sat in silence. No one spoke for a long time. Eventually we drove to a 24-hour diner where some of our friends were hanging out. The place was brightly lit, warm, familiar. We needed that. We told them what happened. At first, they thought it was funny, until I got to the part about the girl knowing where we were. That's when the room got quiet. My friend A-chan looked at her boyfriend, H, who lit a cigarette and said, "You guys know what happened at Asamizo Park, right?" We shook our heads. He said, "A few years back, a girl was attacked there, pulled into the woods, raped and strangled. People say her spirit never left. They say she watches people from the tree line, especially young guys." I laughed, or tried to, but no one else did. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "We should go to a shrine. That kind of spirit, it might have attached itself to you." So now, every time my phone rings from a number I don't know, especially late at night, I think of her voice. I see you, and I wonder, did you ever stop watching? Don't drift too far into the dark, folks. Some places, they drift back. Title: The Light Behind the Door. You ever hear something that didn't sound like much at first, but the more you thought about it, the more your skin crawled? Let me tell you something that happened to me. I can't say with 100% certainty it was paranormal, but I know what I saw, and I know how it made me feel. That counts for something, right? So, this all went down a couple years back, in a high-rise apartment, fancy place, modern build, 2017, Tower Mansion, they call it here. My wife and I live there now, but it actually belongs to a family member. They passed it on to us when they retired. Nothing tragic ever happened there. No deaths, no ominous history, nothing like that. Just a quiet home. The place is laid out kind of like this. There's a central lounge, and off of that, 2 bedrooms, one on each side. A narrow galley kitchen on one end, a balcony on the other, and tucked off to the side, a short hallway leading to the bathroom and toilet. From the sofa in the lounge, you can see pretty much everything. Bedroom doors, kitchen, hallway, it's all in view. Now, I should mention this. I'm a little obsessive when it comes to doors and lights. Can't stand an open door. Can't sleep if a light's left on somewhere. Drives me crazy. Anyway, my wife was overseas at a work conference, so I had the place to myself for the week. That night, I was on the couch, binge watching Netflix. The apartment was quiet, just me, the sound of the show, and the city hum far below. Around midnight, I paused the show and got up to hit the bathroom. Gone maybe 60 seconds. Tops. But when I came back into the lounge, something was off. I froze. The door to our main bedroom, the one I had been facing for hours, was wide open. Not slightly ajar, wide open. And the ceiling light inside? Blazing. But that wasn't the worst part. The built-in closets, every single door, every panel, every drawer open. I just stood there, rooted to the floor. My brain started doing laps. Had I opened that door earlier? No, I had not. I had been looking right at it the whole time, and I would have noticed. I'm sure of it. Eventually, I snapped out of it. Checked the apartment from top to bottom. Every door and window locked tight. We're on the 9th floor, so unless someone's Spider-Man, there's no getting in that way. I even checked the closets, half expecting someone to pop out. Nothing. Not a sound. Not a trace. It never happened again. No cold spots. No flickering lights. No shadows moving on their own. But to this day, I can't explain it. And every night since, before I go to bed, I double-check that door, just in case it decides to open again. Title: The Lady in the Mask. Let me set the scene. A little while back, Not too long, but long enough to still give me chills. Something happened. Something weird. Something I still don't fully understand. Now, I'll start by saying this. We haven't had any issues since then. Everything's been quiet, but this one night, it stuck with me. We live in a decent apartment complex. Nice place, friendly folks. But the land it's built on? Yeah, not so friendly. Apparently, way back when, this area was the site of an old POW camp. Chinese prisoners. Lots of death. And even older than that, samurai battlegrounds. Centuries of blood in the dirt. Locals say the place is haunted. I never believed any of that. Not until that night. It was late. Around 2 a.m. The perfect time for dumb, spooky stuff, right? It was me, my wife, and a close friend of ours. She's always wanted a paranormal experience. My wife's had a few in her life. Me? Never. I was just there to watch. They were on the couch, doing their thing, chanting, calling out like something out of a horror movie. I sat across from them in a chair, just keeping an eye on things. A few minutes passed. That's when I felt it. First, it was just a strange presence, like someone standing right behind me. Then, a flash. A mask. White face. Red markings. Traditional Japanese kabuki style. Right after that, a scream. A woman's scream, far off, like in a haunted house movie. Chilling. I shook it off. Told myself it was just nerves. Late night, dark room, spooky vibes. Nothing more. But then, it happened again. A few minutes later, I felt a soft push on the back of my head. Not hard, just enough to feel. Then, same flash. Same mask. Same scream. This time, I sat up straighter. I was getting uncomfortable. 2 times might be a coincidence, right? But then came the third. My vision narrowed. I felt like I was blacking out, like hands were reaching into my head. The mask, the scream, louder this time. That was it for me. I turned on the lights and said, "I'm done." My wife and our friend both turned to look at me. They looked confused. "How long were you standing there?" my wife asked. "Just now," I said. "I just stood up." They both looked at each other, wide-eyed. "No," they said. "You stood up 10 minutes ago. You've been standing there ever since." I hadn't moved a muscle. They swore up and down that, for the last 10 minutes, a black shadow figure had been standing right where I was sitting. Right there, in my chair. We didn't talk much about it after that. Just went to bed and tried to shake it off. But then, my wife started having sleep paralysis. She said the same lady kept coming into our room. Long black hair, white mask, red markings, just standing there, watching, not moving, then gone. I hadn't told her what I saw. Not then, but she described it perfectly, down to the mask. She kept seeing her, sometimes during sleep paralysis, sometimes just out of the corner of her eye. We tried everything. Salt, banishing rituals, Japanese purification prayers. Nothing helped. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Right after we started talking about having a kid, a family, the creepy feelings disappeared. The sleep paralysis ended. The house felt calm again. A while later, we talked to some neighbors. and they told us something strange. The kids in the complex, they talk about a nice lady they see sometimes. She plays with them, sings to them, keeps them out of trouble, stops them from running into the street, protects them from hornets and bugs. They all say the same thing. Long hair, white face, red markings. The same woman? We think so. Maybe she's not angry. Maybe she was just watching, waiting. Maybe in some way she was protecting us too. That was the last time we saw her. And honestly, I hope it stays that way. But if you ever find yourself awake at 2 a.m. in a quiet place that feels a little too quiet, maybe listen closely. You just might hear a distant scream and see a flash of red and white. Hello everyone, Spectral Dream here. I just wanted to thank everyone who's been supporting my small channel. If you or anyone you know has a story you'd like me to narrate, please feel free to comment down in the comment section and I'll see what I can do. I look forward to telling everyone spooky stories. And if you're new here, please have a seat and come along with us on this journey.